The hell? Oh. There we go. It looks like an AR-15, it feels like an AR-15, but it's not an AR-15. This is the brand new Ruger SFAR chambered in .308 Winchester, or what we call a small frame AR-10. Should this be your next hunting or entry-level precision rifle gun? Let's find out. The AR-15 has been around for more than half a century and has been continually developed with many big design changes happening over the past 20 years. We now have free-floated rails, a myriad of caliber choices, a number of innovative trigger systems, and even gas piston systems. Nevertheless, you could not stuff the mid-size hunting cartridge into the AR platform despite the AR originally being designed for the 7.62x51. That's better. Despite being designed for the 7.62x51 NATO cartridge, it wasn't until 1995 when the new owners of Armalite put out a production AR chambered in .308, which was the AR-10B model. Then, I believe in 2005, DPMS launched the quite successful LR-308, on which most large-frame ARs are based upon today. So, while you can get a modern sporting rifle chambered in .308 or 6.5 Creedmoor, they're generally in larger formats. The typical AR-10 is going to be meaningfully bigger, weigh quite a bit more, and honestly, the shooting characteristics are not that great. You have quite a bit more moving mass from the larger bolt carrier group going back and forth, so at best, these are bench-style firearms or something that's a conversation piece amongst friends. This then presented the challenge: can you get an AR chambered in .308 in a package with shooting characteristics of an AR-15? There have been a number of companies attempting this, with the latest being the DS-25 by Winchester Industries. What there hasn't been, however, is a small frame AR-10 by a large company at a price point most gun owners can afford. That is, until now, and this, the Ruger SFAR. So let's take a look at its features, how it works, and then see how it performs out to distances past 700 yards. The Ruger SFAR, from the first look, looks like a standard AR-15, with the exception of one thing, the larger mag well. It's largely due to the fact that it's a modification and a new implementation of the platform, rather than the completely new platform, such as when Ruger released the PC-9 or just released the LC Carbine. For launch, they have two models different only in the barrel length. They have a 20-inch model and this a 16-inch model. Both barrels are 4140 chrome moly steel and are cold hammer forged with the newer 5R rifling. The barrels are also nitride finished, which should provide for some longevity, especially when shot out in elements. The barrels are rifled with a 1 in 10-inch twist, which will be ideal for the newer, heavier bullets, so think your 168 grain and up, and will probably be good with subsonic .308 loads with 200 and 220 grain bullets. The barrels are threaded 5/8 by 24 if you plan on using it with a suppressor, and Ruger ships these guns with this new muzzle brake, which, I kid you not, they call the 2-port boomer muzzle brake. Ruger claims that this brake reduces felt recoil by up to 30%, but do keep in mind effective muzzle brakes are also pretty loud. You can certainly tell that Ruger tried to keep the weight of this rifle in check, and one of the ways is going to be the handguard. You have a beautiful slim handguard here with M-lock on the sides and on the bottom. One big change, and first on a Ruger AR, is that they decided to ditch the Picatinny rail here in the middle of the handguard, so you only have Picatinny rail sections on the very front and on the very back of the handguard, which you would use basically for something like night vision or iron sights, as I have on here. The lack of Picatinny sections in the middle of the rail are also going to be conducive for those shooting with a big C-clamp grip out towards the front of the gun, as there will not be any cheese grater effect on your palm and your thumb. On the flip side, this will also place your hand very close to the gas block, and if you're shooting a lot, it'll get hot, especially if you're shooting suppressed. The really cool part is that Ruger has also included using an adjustable gas block, which makes this rifle quite versatile. Instead of just having a screw adjustable gas block where you have a screw go in and out, you have a click adjustable gas block with 4 positions. To adjust the gas setting, you'll need a 3/16 wrench, and you can find one included in the pistol grip on the bottom. On the 20-inch, you can access the gas block from the front of the rail, as those guns are going to use a longer rifle length gas system, which is going to be right around here on the same rail. On the 16-inch model, Ruger is using a mid-length gas system, which ends up here, and you will probably need to access the gas block from the side, and why they have a cutout rail here. The included wrench is also a ball end, which will make it easier to get in through the rail and make the adjustment. Moving back, we have what looks like your typical AR upper receiver and lower receiver with the very same controls. While I do believe the upper receiver is a standard AR upper receiver with just perhaps an oversized opening, the lower receiver is definitely completely redesigned to accommodate the larger SR25 magazines. The mag well here is also flared on the bottom, which will also help you with quick reloads. In order to keep the same exterior dimensions, it looks like Ruger shifted the trigger pocket a bit further back. This also gave them the ability to redesign the bolt carrier group. With small frame AR10s, there are many different approaches, and none of them are standardized, and why you simply can't build a gun like this yourself, unlike a standard AR-15. One of the biggest questions raised about small frame AR-10s, and why I believe they have been largely unadopted, is the durability of the bolt. While the other competing offerings have largely used standard AR BCGs with a different bolt, the bolt carrier group here is completely different. As per Ruger, the bolt and barrel extension are CNC machined from high strength super alloy steel, which is supposed to outperform the already durable hardened Carpenter 158 steel on your standard mil-spec BCGs. And since they went ahead and redesigned the bolt here uses a titanium firing pin and dual ejectors, which will surely help with ejection and reliability. The trigger here is the Ruger Elite 452, which is one of my favorite triggers to use on any AR. It's a 4.5 pound 2-stage trigger pull. If you're not familiar with triggers, 2 stages means that you have a lighter take-up, at which point you come to a wall, and then you have a clean second stage break. This trigger will be perfect for hunting, and it's good enough for precision shooting. If you want to make this trigger even better, I suggest getting a lighter weight spring skit for about $10, which will lower the trigger weight down to around 2, possibly 1.5 pounds. There is no need to go out and buy a brand new trigger, as the base of the 452 is already awesome. I personally use the combination of the 452 Elite and lightweight spring skits in a number of my precision ARs. If you want to use a different trigger, you can run any AR-15 trigger except for those special ones that have a locking bar or a roller that lets you shoot really fast. By moving the trigger pocket back, there is no room for the roller to clear. I do believe binary triggers will work, however. Otherwise, you have the same controls and as a standard mil-spec AR. Ruger did go with a Magpul MOE pistol grip here, which I suppose is a bit better than Ruger's own pistol grip, such as what they ship with the Ruger Precisions, and they're also using the Magpul MOE SL stock. The stock fit here is really good, and it's consistent with the SL, which has 2 springs in here that's going to tighten it up to the buffer tier. You can now, of course, swap the stock out with an AR-15 style stock of your choice. One thing the gun certainly has a lot of is sling mount points. You have a couple of loopholes here on the stock, along with quick detach points on both the stock and the front of the rail. There's also a quick detach plate on the back of the receiver for use with single point slings. The 16-inch barreled version weighs 6.8 pounds and the 20-inch version weighs 7.3 pounds. The guns come with one 20-round Magpul magazine and have an MSRP of $1,229, and I expect these to hit the shelves at around $1,000. Do note the gun does not come with any sights and comes shipped as the industry calls optics ready configuration. I do think at this price point it'd certainly be nice to have at least a basic set of iron sights. What I have on the gun are folding backup sights by FAB, and I highly recommend them.
Alright, let's get it on. I'm going to do my best C-clamp grip. Very nice. All right. So definitely very, very manageable recoil. This muzzle brake is doing a really, really good job. A lot less recoil than I expected. And what I did expect, however, and it is awesome, from shooting, so we've shot the DSI 25 small frame AR. And by having a smaller bolt carrier group, the gun just cycled a lot quicker. And with versus regular AR-10s, it's just like a lot of stuff moving back and forth. This cycled really well. It cycled really well, really quickly, nice bam, bam, bam. Definitely more recoil than shooting a 223 AR. I would probably say because you have an effective muzzle brake on here, it felt like almost possibly like shooting like a 6.5 Grendel or a 7.62 by 39 with a less effective brake. But it's a very nice impulse. It's like nice and quick. It definitely didn't feel sluggish. So think like kind of like shooting with handguns like 40 Smith & Wesson versus 45 ACP. 45 ACP is like old and slow. 40 Smith, it's like bam, bam, hits really, really quickly. This rifle cycled really well. So at this point we have about 60 rounds through and it's been doing really well, nice and clean, absolutely zero hiccups, even with hand loads. So what we're gonna do next is tune the gas block and we're gonna put on a suppressor and see how it sounds that way. I'm still going to shoot it with hearing protection for the first couple of rounds until we kind of get a sense of it. And then if it is truly hearing safe, I will take them off and kind of give you the first impressions that way. So let's pop open this, get our wrench out, and we're going to tune the gas block to setting 1, put on a suppressor, and shoot some more. Okay. Might be hearing safe. Okay, so I did have a malfunction. Failure to feed on this one. So, gas setting. And I can already feel the gas block really heating up. Okay. Okay, so I am gonna go change the gas setting back to 2 because this one seemed to be a little underpowered, or at least with my loads. That's 10. All right, so seemingly we got the suppressor issue squared away, and what it was my hand loads weren't hot enough, plus the rounds weren't crimped. I'm still thinking from like the bolt action world. And while it was fine for shooting unsuppressed, when we put the suppressor in there, it just wasn't cycling it that well on setting 1. And then actually the bullets were getting caught up because running the gun with a suppressor gets it really dirty really quick. But obviously I do have some factory ammo here as well, and the M80 stuff runs like a champ.
So, since we got the chrono data, let's go actually shoot a little bit further out there. So let's go from 200 out. I have a variety of ammo left. So this is the Federal 150 grain stuff. The dope is going to be just a little bit off, so we'll start shooting this at 100, 300, then we'll move on to Hornady and my own hand loads. So, this one, first one is 200. That's 5. Alright. So let's move to 300. See if I hit it. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Beautiful. Alright, so that's this ammo. Let's move back to 500, and it's a 3.7 mil hold. This is definitely not a precision type stock. Okay, 630, 6.38 mils. You're gonna hold 6.5. Okay. Okay, we were high. Alright, so these are faster. plate is fine. Yeah, so that's what happens when we switch loads. This year our match kings are a little off. Beautiful. Alright, so we have 4 rounds left. Okay, so this load was definitely different. The holdover on this one was actually supposed to be lower, but I know we got a few hits in on there. Hopefully. Cool. Let's bring the drone back before the rain comes.
I believe the Ruger SFAR is aptly named because it shows how far, as far, so far, the platform has evolved. While it has taken over half a decade, I strongly believe that Ruger has accomplished what Armalite tried to do back in the late 1950s. They designed and manufactured a semi-automatic rifle capable of shooting a mid-size hunting cartridge with the ergonomics and the package of a small frame AR, which we all have learned to love. Don't get me wrong, Ruger is certainly not the first company to attempt the small frame AR10. However, I believe only a company with Ruger's resources could have resolved the elusive problem and come out with a product that is priced right. The main problem with small frame AR10 attempts has been that the reliability of the bolt. Companies have largely used AR-15 bolt carrier groups and 458 SOCOM bolts. However, those bolts are largely not up to the job. While 458 SOCOM and 450 Bushy run about 35,000 psi, 7.62 NATO runs at around 58,000 psi, and 308 Winchester runs a bit north of that at right around 62,000 psi. Given enough time, 458 and 450 Bushy bolts will end up breaking down. And while a smaller company is largely left to working with already produced parts, Ruger started with a clean sheet and designed a bolt that works. And while it'll take thousands of rounds to really tell, I'm quite hopeful and confident that this gun will run. So that's the reliability side of it. Beyond that, I feel the SFAR is like a Corvette in many ways. It's a flagship model and the bits that really matter are executed really well. But once that job was done, they literally went to the existing parts bin and put in the radio and control buttons found in the cheapest model. In this case, I'm talking about the basic AR-15 lower parts kit and lack of any sights. The great news is you have a solid muzzle brake, you have a click adjustable gas block, and a well-fitting stock, a pretty nice rail, and a pretty solid trigger that can be made very well with a few replacement springs. Would I like an ARCA rail, a better pistol grip, and a stock more conducive to shooting with a scope? Of course, but those are relatively easy and less expensive parts to make. The big stuff is already done right. For gun owners, this will be a very solid hunting rifle or even an entry-level semi-auto precision rifle, which you can comfortably shoot past 700 yards. For the industry, I believe this is the recipe for a small frame AR-10 and be the model referenced much like the AR-10B, the SR-25, and the LR-308 before that. So that's the brand new Ruger SFAR and what you need to know. I hope you loved this video, and if you have any questions, leave it in the comments below and let me know what you think about the gun. Is it a game changer in the AR space or merely yet another model? As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Keep on squatting and I'll see you in the next video linked up here.